We had a hurricane the day of our wedding. You don't have to come. I got a nice little rack here. I had a long veil, no bling, no bring. I didn't want any drama at my wedding, but I didn't know how to ask for money and not be tacky about it. My gown was more kind of dramatic, not so big, but definitely dramatic. Not so much quirky cocktail, which was an interesting choice for me because I'm really, I can be more of a quirky cocktail kind of girl, but I felt like for this better be last walk down the aisle, I wanted to go, for something a little more dramatic. The drama for me was definitely in my veil. I didn't want like a little short veil, like, hey, veil. No. I had a long veil. As a matter of fact, I think at one point when I was walking down the aisle, I may have gotten stuck. The veil may have gotten stuck and someone had to unveil me, unstick me from the runway I was walking down because I think I made it to Mike and my veil was still making its way down the aisle. I mean, the veil itself should have definitely gotten more recognition than it did. I should probably just post some pictures of that veil. I may do that after. For me, I went for more of a kind of a lower cut neckline. I wanted to definitely, although I'm a woman of a certain age, I wanted to look sexy, but kind of sexy appropriate. But I did want to, I got a nice little rack here. So I wanted to make sure the girls were front and center, but, showcased in a very classy way. And you guys will see when you check out my wedding dress. Never traditional white. I'm not a traditional person. I would never be a traditional bride. My first wedding dress was like a silver platinum charcoal gray color. And for this one, I opted for gold. I felt like I wanted to go with a rose gold color dress because I felt like I struck gold with my husband, Mike Hill. And these are my golden years. Like, this is it. Again, a woman of a certain age. My next years will be my best year. So golden. I'm living in a very golden space. So I went with rose gold for my dress. In the spirit of his wife not being a traditional person, Mike usually is a little more conservative, but I think I've grown on him because he had more of a flashier tuxedo for the ceremony part of the wedding, and then he changed into a white blinged out tuxedo situation for the reception. So there was nothing conservative about Mike's tuxedos. And I love that because he's kind of like more of a conservative dresser usually, but that may be all changing now that he's, married to me. I put my little pop on it because, we wanted to have fun. We know that we're like auntie and uncle. We get all that. We know that we're older, but we want to be the cool fly auntie and uncle. Staying close to home was better for us because we definitely wanted all of our friends and family to be able to come. Especially, our moms. Mike's mom was having some health issues, so flying would have been probably a problem for her. So we decided that although we love a good destination wedding or a good destination period situation, we decided to bring everything to Atlanta because it would just be more convenient for all of our friends and family to be able to actually make it to the wedding. Well, our perfect date was definitely 10-10-20. Put it together, 2020, get it, perfect. However, for Atlanta, I will say it was like, we were told by numerous people, that's the perfect time. It won't be too hot. It won't be too cold. It never rains on 10-10-20. Like, it just doesn't rain a lot in Georgia in October. We had a hurricane the day of our wedding. Not only did it rain, we had a full hurricane, okay? And then everyone tells us that rain means good luck. So if rain means good luck, then a hurricane means that we're going to be together forever. We wanted big. We had initially planned for big before pandemic. So our struggle was to, how can we still invite the people that we had on our original list? Now they didn't have to come, but we wanted to invite them. And we made it very clear with all of our COVID-19 updates, you don't have to come, but you're invited. We understand if you can't make it, but you're invited. If you change your mind about coming and you need to cancel, that is fine. Like, we almost talked our guests out of coming in the end, and they weren't budging. So, you got to remember when you're planning a wedding, like, we didn't like come up with the number. It just was like when we wrote our list, that was the number. And the rule for +1 is no bling, no bring. If you're not at least engaged and have something on your finger, then you can't bring your man to the wedding. You guys have to be that serious. So it ended up being a nice sized wedding, just because, again, us not focusing on the number, just the people that we invited, they all decided to come. Food, 100%, because we like to drink, so we need to make sure everybody has enough food in their system as well. And it didn't hurt that my husband is actually allergic to flowers, so we saved a lot of money on flowers, because Mike would be sneezing the whole wedding if we had a bunch of flowers. So we kind of swapped out flowers for candles, so that kind of worked out for us. That saved us thousands of dollars right there. Open bar up until a point. I think a good 3 hours of open bar is good. And then after that, make it a cash bar. Because what happens is, if you can't get your buzz on and your drink on in 3 hours, then that's just no longer my problem. And what also happens is, a lot of people drink so much into 3 hours, like, you kind of have to gently cut them off a little bit, because at our wedding, we had an open bar for most of the night, and trust and believe, we had a lot of people that took full advantage of that open bar and probably don't remember much of the night themselves, because they were definitely wasted. And there's nothing worse than we wanted our guests to have fun, but we didn't want them to get shit-faced and have to be carried out of the wedding. I wasn't going to do bridesmaids. I only decided to do bridesmaids a month before the wedding, because I didn't want any drama at my wedding. I had a wedding, my first wedding, there was a lot of drama. There were marriage licenses missing. There was a lot of haters in the group that, I saw when I actually watched my wedding get played back, that were not giving us positive vibes. So with that said, and then, just again, the bridesmaid thing. I was just recently a bridesmaid in my friend's wedding, and it's a lot of stress. Definitely some of our other friends were in their feelings that they weren't asked to be a bridesmaid. And I was like, well, who would I get? Where if I invite this one to be one, then this one's going to get pissed. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of work. But Mike was sticking pretty true to the fact that he wanted his boys at his wedding. So I was like, okay, fine. You just have your groomsmen, and I just won't have bridesmaids. And finally, in the end, I was like, you know what? As we got closer and it was really going to happen, I was like, you know what? I kind of wouldn't mind having some of my girls, having my back at the wedding as well. So I ended up going with them at the very end. I do not like live bands at big events. I love DJs, but I did have a violinist that played along with my DJ. That was pretty cool. That was really, really cool. And, for me, I just feel like it's just you just have more variety when you have a DJ. And I wanted our wedding to be, I didn't want a stuffy, oh, this is a wedding and we have our band and whatever. And, people are going to sit here and here are the place cards. It was more like a celebration. It was like a party. And when you think of a party, you think of a DJ. I mean, there's clock when a DJ plays it, and then the band version, not quite the same. In the respect of COVID-19 rules and regulations, we did two things. We actually did cupcakes in a cup that was sealed, so that people could just have their own individual dessert. and I didn't want to get into the whole like having the cake exposed and cake cutting and having to like all that cross contamination stuff going on. So what we did was we had cake in a cup, and we also did a dummy cake because I wanted the cake that I wanted a cake there. So we did a dummy cake, which I didn't even know that existed until I was talking to my cake person. She's like, why don't you just do a dummy cake? I was like, what's a dummy cake? She's like, a cake that looks like the cake you want. We make the cake you want, but they only put the last layer that's the real cake. So it's like, if you and Mike still want to cut the cake that you guys will only eat, then only one part was real. So we did that. So we had a dummy cake and cupcakes in a cup. Well, dummy cake and cakes in a cup. Yeah. Well, I really wanted to get like honeymoon fun thing, but I didn't know how to ask for money and not be tacky about it. So what we did was we put on our gift registry Visa gift cards, which we can't still really use for the honeymoon. We could take them on the honeymoon, but we would have loved cash in an envelope if there was a classy way to ask for it. Because in terms of gifts, we pretty much have a lot of stuff. Like, it was cool to get a new air fryer and different things like that, but we're trying to get to the Maldives next year and we want to do it up big. So we would have loved to have been able to ball out and, you know, go private or make sure we're in first class and make sure, you know, we're staying at an amazing resort. So yeah, we're all about the Benjamins, baby. We would have loved that cash in an envelope had there been a classy way to ask for it. You know, our honeymoon, when and where we can go is not the entire focus right now. We're just living in a time where we're just enjoying life. Every day is our honeymoon. Like, he went to the gym and he went to have lunch with his mom. So when he comes back, we're gonna have a honeymoon in our bedroom upstairs. And we usually have one about 3 or 4 times a week. Hey, you guys, it's me again, your girl, Cynthia Bailey from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I made it through Highly Debatable. Make sure you guys subscribe to Good Housekeeping.